All right, I'm back and the New York Jets are making moves. So the New York Jets just pulled off a very big trade, in my opinion, a trade that I feel like is going to be important for the Jets season and just the direction and where the Jets is going. So the New York Jets just traded Jermaine Johnson for Trayvon Sweat, I believe that's how you pronounce his name. And honestly, if this trade tells us anything, I feel like this trade really breaks down the direction in which this rebuild is going, our defensive philosophy, our pick at number 2. It breaks down so much. So in this video, we're gonna talk about it. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and let's get right into it. If you like content like this, make sure you like and subscribe to your boy. And thank you guys for the love and support. Let's get right into the video. All right, so let's talk about the trade details. So the Jets traded for Trayvon Sweat. So the Jets get Trayvon Sweat, or Tavon Sweat, Tavondre Sweat. And the Titans received Jermaine Johnson. So it's a straight up trade. There's no like picks or anything like that involved. And ultimately, this trade says a lot about where the New York Jets are going. But before we talk about the trade, let's talk about Jermaine Johnson. Of course, he was a 5th round pick, a pick that I really loved. I remember watching him go crazy at the Senior Bowl. I mean, Jermaine Johnson has a lot of talent. And to be honest, with him at his full potential, fully healthy, I feel like he can be a pretty good pass rusher in this league. I'm not going to short him because he's no longer a Jet. I personally believe that Jermaine Johnson, when he was coming out of college, that he can be a really good pass rusher. I think he's ideally for a 4-3 scheme, so an outside edge rusher with his hands in the dirt. I feel like he kind of plays like Kayvon Thibodeau. I'm not saying he has their game, but as far as play style and scheme fit, Aiden Hutchinson, Myles Garrett, like hand in the dirt kind of player. Not really like a Micah Parsons stand-up outside linebacker edge rusher. He's more of a hand in the dirt type of player. For the year, his best year with the Jets, I don't know if that was his rookie year or second year, but he had 7.5 sacks, which that was in 2023. That was one of the surprise seasons of the Jets where we kind of had a little bit of a chance. That's the Mike White year. And then he tore his Achilles in 2024. And this past season was very underwhelming, but he was just coming off an Achilles tear. So obviously there's the potential of him getting better, but the Jets has the number 2 overall pick. And in my humble opinion, the edge rushers that we're possibly looking at, all 3 of them, I believe they have higher ceilings than Jermaine Johnson, just as far as athleticism, physical traits, and where they are now coming out of college compared to where Jermaine Johnson was. Jermaine Johnson is an incredible player. He also was on Last Chance U, which I watched that documentary, so it was very cool to see him get his footing in the NFL. But yeah, the Jets just traded him. So why did the Jets do this? So I feel like this is very, very important for their rebuild. We desperately needed help in the interior defensive line. And what we got in return is a 6'4", 366, if I'm looking at this correct, 366-pound interior defensive lineman, which according to PFF, he is top 5 interior defensive line player, according to PFF. That's not too shabby. And on top of all of that, he's still on his rookie deal. He was drafted in the 2nd round, so there's no fifth year option on that. But obviously a 2nd round draft pick comes at a lower price point. So I'm pretty sure the Jets are saving a lot of money. And he's only 24 years old. So he's cheap. He's really good at his position. He fills a big need for us. I feel like this is a slam dunk trade on both sides of the spectrum for the Titans and the Jets. We're both scratching each other's back right now. So overall, what does this mean for the draft? I feel like this solidifies edge at number 2, but most importantly, I feel like this also solidified us switching over into a 3-4 defense, which is what Aaron Glenn primarily ran when he was in Detroit. We have a lot of coaches that coach D4. We have a lot of coaches that coach the 3-4 defense, and then on top of that, Will McDonald is very, very athletic, so I can easily see him standing up and rushing as an outside linebacker, like a stand-up edge rusher. And then if we draft somebody like Arvell Reese, who's very young, very gifted, very talented, and we put him on the other end at edge rusher, I feel like we'll have a defense that can not only get to the passer, but it's so much easy to disguise in that kind of defense. The reason why I personally feel like a 3-4 defense is better than a 4-3 is because a 4-3 defense is kind of vanilla. You know what's not like you know what's happening, but you have 4 big guys, hands in the dirt, old school football, mano y mano, if that's the right phrase or whatever, my best versus your best, we're gonna beat you every time. That's kind of like when I watch a 4-3 defense, that's what I think of. Like, you know, they're pinning their tails back and they're trying to get to that quarterback. With a 3-4 defense is a little more disguised. Think Rex Ryan. Like, you have 3 interior defensive linemen, 2 that are a little more athletic as the D ends, and then 1 big fat nose stop. I mean, not trying to call him fat, but big nose tackle in the middle that can just clog up holes, eat up runs, sometimes create pressures. And then you have those outside linebackers that can not only drop into coverage and confuse you, but they could come and blitz. You could blitz your linebacker, your middle linebacker out of that too. You could blitz safeties. It's just so creative. I feel like the 3-4 is very, very creative, and I feel like that's the direction that we're primarily going in. I feel like we're gonna see a lot of 3-4 this year, and I feel like a surprise winner from this is going to be Will McDonald. A lot of people don't realize how athletic Will McDonald is. Will McDonald is somebody who was playing all over the D-line in college. They had him playing nose tackle sometimes, right? And then on top of that, if you watch some of his athleticism, him jumping over cars and all that, I feel like he would do really well in this kind of scheme. And then on top of that, I feel like this also increases the chances of us drafting Arvell Reese, but then also don't sleep on David Bailey, who's another really good edge rusher, very, very explosive, very fast. I personally, now that we made this trade, I would kind of lean Arvell Reese just because of his versatility, how much he could help us out in the run game, QB spy game, get into the passer. I feel like he could help out in so many different ways, but the Jets might fall in love with David Bailey. On the Tennessee side of things, we know that Robert Saleh is the head coach there, so I feel like this makes a lot of sense for them. He's going to get a familiar face in Jermaine Johnson. They also needed a lot of help at the edge rusher position, and if we know anything about Robert Saleh, he likes to deploy multiple edge rushers. So I don't think this stops them from also drafting an edge rusher as well, because I feel like he wants to keep those guys fresh and keep them in rotation. He obviously saw all the stuff that I saw from Jermaine Johnson coming out of college. I feel like he's a very good, underrated player. I feel like he's going to have a really good career in the long run. So I feel like the Titans also kind of win in this trade too as well. It's basically a win-win for both sides. But if I had to pick who won the most, who got the best deal, I'm sorry, I'm going to have, and you call me biased, I'm going to have to say the Jets. The Jets got a top 5 interior defensive tackle, according to PFF, right? Not only that, he's young, he's explosive, he's athletic, he's 24 years old, and he's still on a rookie contract. So we saved money, we got better at a major position of need, we get to draft another edge rusher to fill the void that Jermaine Johnson left. The best that Jermaine Johnson has done with the Jets is 7.5 sacks. So I'm pretty sure we can draft someone that can replace that kind of production on the high end as a rookie. Will McDonald, and get him into his second gear. We get a better, we got better on the interior, so I feel like it's gonna be even easier for Will McDonald to rush the pass. I feel like this is a big win for the Jets. And as far as like big picture, the Jets got rid of so many players. Now we got rid of Sauce Gardner, Quentin Williams, Jermaine Johnson. We got rid of a lot of players, but we also have high impact players coming in. We traded for, I forgot his name, but the corner out of Tennessee last year who did really well for us. I'm not gonna, the nickel, you guys know who I'm talking about. I'm not gonna try to remember. We have a lot going for ourselves as far as like draft picks and things like that. I feel like we can potentially do something next year. I'm really hoping for that. All we have to do is figure out this quarterback situation. And as far as the defense, I'm looking for a way better defense than we deployed last year. Last year, it didn't work. So Aaron Glenn, now he is taking control over calling the plays. It's time for you to put your money where your mouth is and get the Jets back to being the Jets. Like, we are the Jets. I remember growing up watching the year Mark Sanchez took us to 2 AFC championships. Those defenses were amazing. We had Bart Scott, we had Revis, we had Cromartie, we had so much to look forward to on defense. You couldn't just walk in. I don't care what quarter, Peyton Manning, Tom, I don't care who you were. You were not gonna just walk into the Jet Stadium and just do whatever you wanted. Like, it was gonna be a dogfight. And we went to AFC championships. We almost went to the Super Bowl. It's time to deploy that same type of motivation. The one thing I will say, just to offer some hope, and I said this in my last video, the last time the Jets were good, well, obviously they went to the playoffs a long time ago, but the last time we had a surprise season was the Fitzmagic season, where we thought we were completely cooked. Geno got punched in the face. We didn't have a quarterback. Put this old guy in, and he made magic. We just need somebody stable that can play the position. So make sure that Frank Wright is in these meeting rooms, looking at who he feels like can get his offense to the next level. And whoever they decide to go with, I'm going to root for them 110%. But with that being said, go Jets. Catch you on the next one.